my WeTalk in 2020, I want to tell you something about supporting communication, social interactions, and health with flexible emotion management. I want to convince you that emotional competencies are key competences. So if you are competent in an emotional way, you have a high self-competence, which means that you are able to recognize how you are feeling and influence your feelings if necessary. But you are also highly social competent. That means that you also feel or recognize what other people are feeling. You know what a certain facial expression is and what it means, and you have the skills to act accordingly or react accordingly. So all this contributes to a high emotional competence. And if you are highly emotional competent, you are also feeling good. Yeah, you have a high well-being psychologically and also physically. In your work, you might be able to perform better because you are better at stress management. Maybe you are you have a higher job satisfaction, or you're better at conflict management, and also you're better at social relationships, of course. So if you have high emotional competencies, you have high social competencies, and that contributes to good social relationships, and that improves teamwork as well. But what are emotions? Why do we have them? Why are they so important? Emotions are behavioral, psychological, and also physiological reactions. Yeah, you feel it. Other people can see it because your behavior changes if you have an emotion. And also your body is reacting. You feel your heart rate rising, for instance, if you are angry. But you react to important situations, to important events and stimuli with emotions. Yeah. You might not react emotional if there is something boring going on because you are just sitting in a boring meeting, for instance. So emotions always arise if something is important, something was important and you remember it, or something will be important and it lies in the future. And now psychologists are analyzing which categories of important stimuli or important situations are there that arouse emotions. You always will have an emotion if you expect or you experience some reinforcement. So if you are praised, if you expect an important and nice meeting, if you plan a party, or if you get a raise in your job, or if you get a reward otherwise. Then you will react with joy or pride if you achieved something, or love and positive emotions like that. On the other side, if you expect or experience some kind of punishment, so a negative event, you are anxious because you don't know whether you will get a good grade in an exam, then you might experience a negative emotion, which might be anxiety or fear or tension. If you expect a reinforcement and this doesn't occur, so if there is reinforcement, reward, praise, or something like that absent, then you might be frustrated. You feel anger or sadness if you lose someone or something you expected and were looking forward to. But also in the other way, if you expect punishment, so if you expect a negative event or a negative object, or you expect a meeting that might go negative and this doesn't occur, then you might react with relief. So this is the absence of punishment, which could also be important, would also lead to an emotion. And you could say that in such important situation, there's always a goal you have, which is reached or isn't reached. So you as this special person in a specific situation have a goal. For instance, you are working in a team and your team gets assigned a new project, which is important to you. You are looking forward to it. You might feel able to do the project, put your skills in and your experience, but you also expect some quarrels with some colleagues or even the project leader. Your goal is to perform very well in this project, to finish the project in a good way. So this would be your goal, but you expect that this goal might be in danger because of the quarrels you have with colleagues or even the team leader. Then you would react to this. You might react with a kind of tension, or you might react with a kind of determination, with a kind of anger. I'm angry, but I will show them that I'm good and that I'm right and I can solve the problem the quarrels were about. So here we have this important situation. You want to perform very well, but this goal might be in danger because you have things going on with colleagues, and this would lead to an emotional reaction. And if we have emotional reactions, for instance, negative emotions, if we feel negative emotions, then a certain part of our brain is active. This part is called the amygdala. As you can see here, it lies very deep in our brain. It's a very evolutionary old structure. Most of all the animals have this structure. And this is because it's a very important structure, because it's important to have emotions. So whenever something is very salient, important, the amygdala gets activated. And after that, the whole process of physiological and behavioral reactions is triggered in our bodies. Yeah. And this has to be processed. So there's something important, the amygdala detects it, and all the physiological and behavioral reactions are triggered, and then they are going on. And if the situation is solved, then these physiological processes will stop. How do we know this? So psychologists have conquered medical tools to analyze psychological processes in the body and in the brain. So this is MRI, a magnetic resonance imaging tool, and we did put subjects, participants of our studies into such an MRI, and we could look at the brain while the brain is experiencing things. And to study emotions, we mostly show participants emotional pictures or emotional movies while they are lying in the MRI scanner. And so we could detect that mostly during emotional pictures, mostly during watching emotional pictures, the amygdala is active. So this is why we have emotions, and emotions are important because they offer a signal, an information about here is something important. But how do we manage our emotions? Not always is it appropriate to be anxious or tensed during such a new project. It could hinder the performance that we show in this project. So when we experience that our emotions are in the way of reaching our goal, then we try to develop another emotion. So now this goal to perform well gets a more higher goal, develops as a more higher goal. This is called a superordinate goal. And the wish to feel better, to feel calm or relaxed in the same situation is a subordinate goal. So first we want to become more relaxed in order to perform better in this situation. So the situation is the same. We have this project, we have quarrels with colleagues, we might get tensed, but we want to get calmer and relaxed in order to perform well. So how do we do this? Via emotion regulation, of course. And there are a lot of strategies that might help us here. Yeah. So if you are good at meditation, or if you have learned a breathing exercise to relax, this could help in this situation. And if you are skilled in this technique and you have chosen an adaptive strategy to get calmer, and then you have reached your goal, and then this strategy might be called adaptive. If you choose the wrong strategy for this situation, maybe to get more into the quarrels, to speak up, to get aroused every time a colleague says something that you don't agree with, then this would be a maladaptive strategy and you won't reach your goal. Yeah. But it could also be that showing this emotion, that you are tense, that you are afraid, that you won't perform well, triggers some social support in your colleagues. So showing the tension and the anxiety could also be a good and adaptive emotion regulation strategy, because your colleagues will support you because you expressed your emotion. And then this situation would also be solved, and this would be an adaptive strategy.